Oh boy. Okay, are we here? We're here again. We're taking a side quest, a side mission. We're going to talk about the moderator of this crazy debate, Lexopher Friedman. If you've seen any of the previous things, we have talked at length. I have talked at length about Lex Friedman, specifically regarding his conduct, his words, his way of being during this debate. So we've revisited a lot of his silliest stuff. He struggles to talk and form questions that seem to be like he seems like he's trying to make them really insightful, intelligent questions, but is tripping over himself trying to like complicate up his questions as much as he can while he's talking. And he also very blatantly, but still you could tell he's trying to like pretend to be completely neutral, but is hugely swinging for the side of the Zionist. He is a Zionist, is my opinion about Lexopher. So he can't help himself. When he's trying to play a neutral party, he's constantly helping out the Zionist side, and trying to, tip the debate one way. And it's laughable because he doesn't do a good job at it. But it's clear that's what he's doing. So I've had a lot of suspicions about this guy as being a complete fucking phony, just in his conduct. Now, this video just popped up for me. Thank you to the YouTube algorithm. The Many Lies of Lex Friedman. Maybe the YouTube algorithm realized that I watch Lex Friedman's channel quite a lot, but I only watched one single video from it. And I watch it repeatedly, over and over and over, to the point where I often get the debate as my recommended, just on my homepage. I often see it there, especially around the evening time. On a Monday or a Friday, those seem to be the days I tend to do it. Could be any day, like today. It's a Thursday. Although it's not Thursday for very much longer. Only a few more hours. But I digress. And that is a fact. That's what I do on this stream. I digress. By the way, this stream is not entertainment. This stream is not educational. This is me, and I am your study buddy in the school of life. Okay? I'm not here to teach you anything. I'm here to chat. I'm here to teach myself things and learn stuff, and bloviate and opine and think out loud and talk out loud. All right? So if you ever heard anything on this stream, you can't like cite it as like good research. It can be a starting point, but it shouldn't be your only resource. All right. So, recipe of the day. Go enjoy yourself a hamburger with ketchup. I also recommend a veggie burger, or you could really replace the burger with any other kind of sandwich, any kind of handheld food, to be honest. Put some ketchup on it. So, Yeah. I think we're ready to get started. I don't know anything about ghost gum. I don't know anything about ghost gum. We're gonna take a quick little perusal, and I'll show you how I judge people. Okay, he's got a. Maybe I might have. According to this, I have at least watched a little bit of the collapse of the Joe Rogan verse. Okay, we got an anti-Elon. We got Steven Seagal in Russia. Dana White is worse than you think. Insane Redditors. r/Playboy Cardi. Y'all ever put a finger in your A double S? Ooh. That's insane, dude. They touch their butts with their fingers? I wonder, this guy seems like a pretty vanilla-ass motherfucker. Like, dude, you wouldn't believe what else they touch buttholes with. You wouldn't believe what people are touching against their own and other people's buttholes. A finger is kind of like... It's not the...
Right now, there are over 3.4 million subreddits. Original state started to slowly die with little to talk about. Batman Arkham Knight is a great game, sure, but you can only talk about it for a certain amount of time until you've said everything there is to say. They were starving for new content, and the subreddit was slowly called the Reddit. Christ. And the reality that was released by the same studio. And speaking personally, as somebody who loves Batman and Playboy Cardi, it'll turn into something like Playboy Cardi or Batman Arkham, which in my opinion just shows how passionate the fan base really is.
I don't know. I just kind of skipped to that. That's not the video we're here to talk about or to watch. We're gonna react to this one. We're gonna watch The Many Lives of Lex Fridman by Ghost Gum. And let's give it a watch.
Depending on who you ask, Lex Fridman is a super genius, former professor at MIT, truth-telling podcast aficionado. Other people will say he's a lying industry plant grifter who pushes certain narratives based on whatever will make him famous under the guise of neutrality and working for a greater good. When I first encountered Lex Fridman,
Okay, that last point definitely hits. When we had the little Dr. Evil air quotes.
He's a lying industry plant grifter who pushes certain narratives based on whatever will make him famous under the guise of neutrality and...
Yeah. That's exactly how I clocked Lex. Is fake altruism / neutrality. Yeah.
And working for a greater good. When I first encountered Lex Fridman, I saw him as more of a... I mean, the man taught at MIT and had an academic paper endorsed by and Elon Musk. That's pretty
What was the word that he bleeped out there?
and Elon Musk. I mean, the man taught at MIT and had an academic paper endorsed by and Elon Musk. That's pretty remarkable stuff, but the more...
Free... It sounds like he's saying freaking Elon Musk.
Had an academic paper endorsed by and Elon Musk.
Beep Elon Musk. What the fuck is he saying?
I mean, the man taught at MIT and had an academic paper endorsed by
beep.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Precoming? Does he call him precoming Elon Musk? Precoming... I don't understand that. What about Elon Musk would make you think that a paper that he endorses would have any sort of, like, meaning whatsoever? I saw him as
the man taught at MIT. When I first encountered Lex Friedman, I saw him as more of A. I mean, the man taught at
Of A. You thought he was an MIT professor who made a paper that Elon Musk liked, and Elon Musk is that a thing? Pre-cum? Is that something about him? I'm getting nothing on Google about Elon being known for pre-cumming. I've heard that his dick doesn't work at all. Like, it's not pre-cum or even late cum. It's never cum. Which sucks because he really wants to like come in as many women as possible and get them all pregnant. And it's hard to do that when his dick doesn't work. So everybody pray for him tonight, and make sure you add all the details about what you want to happen to Elon Musk's genitals. And you have to pray specifically about them in order for the prayer to work. Okay? Do that. All you who pray for things to happen to the genitals of Elon Musk. You know which things should happen. Now, whatever. Let's keep going. So this guy used to be a fan, or thought that this guy was really as a brilliant genius
at MIT and had an academic paper endorsed by me and Elon Musk. That's pretty
just every time it bugs me. Beep King Elon Musk. What the fuck is he saying?
remarkable stuff, but the more I look into this man, the more I realize that almost everything he does is deceptive, embellished, or just a flat-out lie. This guy has one of the most popular podcasts in the world, yet somehow also has zero charisma.
For people who are not familiar, what if someday or night?
Thank you. I think the zero charisma works in his favor because he's saying shit that liberals and right-wingers love to hear. And he's doing it in the NPR energy voice, which is probably a niche amongst extreme right-wing influencers, of which I count him amongst them. Granted, if you're only looking at American politics, then he's not very extreme at all. But he is also not exciting at all. He's such a lump of a guy. Like, I wouldn't, if I just like knew this guy, I wouldn't really want to spend much time around him. And I'd just be like, God damn, what the fuck is that guy droning on about? So boring. He's just like, I am very smart all over up in here.
Night, a demon. By the way, he has a demon introduce this thought experiment. What if someday or night a demon were to steal after you into your loneliest loneliness?
He'll
Demon. By the way, he has a demon. People who
one of the most popular podcasts in the world, yet somehow also has zero charisma.
For people who are not familiar, what if someday or night a demon By the way, he has a demon introduce this thought experiment. What if someday or night a demon were to steal after you into your loneliest loneliness?
He'll humiliate himself on podcasts despite claiming.
So I need more context. I need more context. So you know what we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to look up podcast. In your loneliest loneliness. Is it? So I have this thought experiment.
You have so much love in your life. You radiate love. Do you ever feel...
No, that doesn't seem to be the same one. He's got a chessboard.
Experiment. What if someday...
A demon introduces this thought experiment. Is it, what if life repeats infinitely?
Nietzsche has this thought experiment to the surface recurrence, where you get to
I think this is it.
Nietzsche has this thought experiment. Nietzsche has this thought experiment called eternal recurrence, where you get to relive your whole life over and over and over and over. And I think it's a way to bring to the surface of your mind the idea that every single moment in your life matters. It intensely matters, the bad and the good. And he kind of wants you to imagine that idea, that every single decision you make throughout your life, you repeat over and over and over. And he wants you to respond to that. Do you feel horrible about that, or do you feel good about that? And you have to...
All right. So this is actually from Nietzsche. So that wasn't just dumb babble from Lex. It was dumb babble from Nietzsche. Offering his idea as a thought experiment. Okay, hold on. In the penultimate section of The Gay Science, the same book in which he discussed the death of God, Nietzsche presents his idea of the eternal recurrence, a thought that occurred to him. Why is my font just changing? That was weird. He reports in his notebooks while he was on one of his epiphanic hikes. Epiphanic. Does that mean he had an epiphany? Yeah, okay. Epiphany. Through the Swiss Alps, offering his idea as a thought experiment. He said, what if someday or night a demon were to steal into your loneliest loneliness and say to you, this life as you now live and have lived it, you will have to live once again, and innumerable times again. And there will be nothing new in it, but every pain and every joy and every thought and sigh and everything unspeakably small and great in your life must return to you. All in the same succession and sequence. Even this spider and this moonlight between the trees and even this moment and I myself, the eternal hourglass of existence, is turned upside down again and again, and you with it. speck of dust. Nietzsche's follows up this picture of endless repetition with a challenge. Question in each and every thing. Do you want this again and innumerable times again? Would lie on your actions as the heaviest weight, or how well disposed would you have to become to yourself and to life to long for nothing more fervently than for this? Would you not throw yourself down and gnash your teeth and curse the demon who spoke thus? Or have you once experienced a tremendous moment when you have answered him, "You are a god, and never have I heard anything more divine"? Yeah, we get it, man. I think you made your point. You don't have to say, what if someday or night a demon were to steal into your loneliest loneliness? What does the fuck that mean? What does the fuck that mean? Your loneliest loneliness. Does that just mean when you're by yourself? Or when you're feeling lonely? Because he's just saying, like, if you knew that you would be, your whole life would be on repeat, and you would relive the same life over and over again, would you flip out and shit your pants at that news? Or would you be really overly joyed at that news? Or would you just say, okay, because whatever, like, you're not going to remember everything that happened exactly as it happened. Otherwise, you would know to, like, change it. You would, like, alter, or you would avoid mistakes you made to avoid the terrible times you know that are about to happen. But, like, what if you lived, we probably do live our lives on repeat for all we know. If your memory is erased after each one, then whether you lived it exactly the same or with a slight difference every time or with complete difference every time, you wouldn't fucking know. Is this more about deciding how you'd like to proceed from your life from then on? It might be a nice sort of rubric of, like, well, how do you want to live, knowing that you have to live that moment again and again and again and again? I suppose it would mean that you make positive choices and you make, but it could also mean that you make hedonistic choices and selfish choices. I don't know. I don't even care to read the rest of this thought experiment because I don't fucking care. That's not the point. The point is that Lex is a liar. Let's go back.
Day or night, a demon were to steal after you into your loneliest loneliness.
He'll humiliate himself on podcasts despite claiming to be an alpha male. He has an extremely shady background that nobody can make sense of other than accusing him of being an intelligence asset, which might hold more weight than I originally thought. So let's try and get to the bottom of who is Lex Fridman. Lex was born in the Tajik Soviet Republic in 1983 to Russian Jewish parents. He spent his childhood in Moscow until his family moved to the USA following the collapse of the Soviet Union. Lex's father was a plasma physicist and began teaching at Drexel University. Lex and his brother would follow in their father's footsteps and also attend Drexel University, where Lex would obtain his bachelor's, master's, and a PhD. Now, Drexel University is a respected school and anyone would be proud to graduate from there, especially with 3 separate degrees. Anyone except for Lex, apparently. What's interesting is that on all of Lex's personal media, he never mentions Drexel University, not even once. He never mentions he went there, he never talks about it on podcasts, nothing. He and his dad had a podcast years ago, who, keep in mind, is a professor at Drexel, but that podcast has been scrubbed clean from the internet. Even
God damn it. My microphone wasn't recording, or I had it muted. But I'm reading Lex's response to some of the attacks on Twitter that he got from Alex Roy and Missy Cummings. I don't really know who they are, but they appear to be academics. Lex thinks that these are personal, hateful attacks and that they break his heart and they weigh heavy on him. And he's proud of the work he did at MIT as a research scientist. And that while he's self-critical, he is proud of the work. And as for the folks who are being cruel to me for no reason that I can understand, I send them my love and hold no ill will. That's perhaps the best I can do. That, and try to work even harder to have some positive impact on the world. Wow. Wow. That is some fucking funny bullshit, dude. Oh, that's quite the response, man. Yeah, good job, Lex. And then the OP says, oh my God, Lex Fridman himself. I'm so sorry, man. I didn't want to see this kind of crap here. I didn't want you to see this kind of crap. This tweet bothered me a lot, and I wanted to share this with other Lex Fridman enthusiasts. I'm so sorry if I had disrupted your zen. I'm so sorry if I had disrupted your zen. You're doing a fantastic work, and I and many other appreciate your energy and your effort. We, your well-wisher, outnumber your critics. You are truly a great person. Wow, dude. This was the person who posted these tweets. I was like, what is the context? Why are they hating on our boy Lex? And he's like, I'm so sorry, King. I'm so sorry, my sire. I did not wish to disrupt your zen. I didn't want you to see this. I meant to just share it with your fellow fucking, what does he call them? Your well-wishers. Even if you are bothered by the tone of the tweet, aren't you interested at all in invalidating if MIT is now distancing itself from Lex Fridman and wonder why that is? Any thoughts on that part of the tweet? A lot of support for Lex. Fuck the haters. Play on, playa. Neglecting folks is cruel too, Lex. Lex, you bring so much joy into my life. What was Lex doing for these people? Just doing his podcast? You got owned by Marie Curie. This guy's like, there are way more academics that think what Lex is doing with the podcast and everything is good. An example of that is his podcast has been advocated for by research scientists from DeepMind's official Twitter account. Research scientists from DeepMind's official Twitter account. DeepMind's official Twitter account has research scientists, and then that means they're academics? What is that supposed to mean? All right, so Lex Fridman podcast has obviously a cult following. I would expect the same from any subreddit. There, it's either going to be like a total pro this asshole kind of sub, or a complete like anti this asshole kind of sub. It looks like his is more of a pro him, because he himself actually seems to participate on it. What a whiny little fucking dumb bitch. And the way he just kind of completely ignores every like legitimate criticism and just says these personal and hateful attacks, they honestly hurt my feelings, but I'm not going to get mad at them. I don't have any ill will. I can only respond with love. Sure, buddy.
Going through his catalog, you won't find podcast 100. What's weird is that you can find Drexel articles about Lex, and even this really old post where he confirms that he went there. On his Wikipedia, which he's not in control of by the way, it says Drexel University. Lex claimed that this was an attack on him for no good reason, slandering him even. Now note this pattern of behavior for Lex. Every time he's confronted on something shady or something that doesn't add up, he plays victim. Try looking up Drexel on his subreddit and nothing will come up. In fact, if you even mention Drexel on his subreddit or tweet at him about Drexel University, you'll almost certainly be banned or blocked. Even if you're just saying, hey, wait, didn't you go to Drexel? So what gives? Well, he does mention his association with MIT constantly, by the way. How he's a research scientist at MIT, how he taught at MIT. If you didn't do any research, you'd assume the only school Lex had affiliations with would be MIT. But what if I told you Lex has barely any connection to MIT? If you look through the MIT faculty lists, Lex is nowhere to be found. But if you go on YouTube, he has alleged lectures that took place at MIT. So, did he really teach at MIT? Well, it turns out Lex taught a January community class at MIT. This class that Lex taught was a class that wasn't for marks. There was no requirement to be there, no grading, no anything. MIT and other universities will usually offer these classes for anybody to take if they have an interest in a subject. Now, teaching this and being a tenured professor are very, very different things, but it didn't stop Lex from putting MIT all over his social media. His LinkedIn, for example, says MIT and nothing about Drexel, which is weird because on a LinkedIn, you'd want all of your academic credentials on there. Even if you go to any of his papers, it cites his school as MIT. Again, when you're publishing an academic paper, you'd want all of your academic qualifications in there. So why is he so eager to cover up the fact that he went to Drexel and not MIT? Well, because Lex uses this to give himself authority when speaking.
Lex Friedman, MIT. Also, which is something those people seem to sometimes care about, the followers and stuff like that. Like, did you just do that? And then they said, enough of that nonsense. Enough of that nonsense. They said to me, enough of that nonsense.
So what is his affiliation?
Who said to you?
Well, because Lex uses this to give himself authority when speaking.
Lex Friedman, MIT. Also, which is something those people seem to sometimes care about.
Who are those people that he's talking about?
The followers and stuff like that. Like, did you just do that?
Did who just do what?
And then they said, enough of that nonsense.
And then who said enough of what nonsense?
Enough of that nonsense. They said to me, enough of that nonsense.
So what is his...
Who?
So why is he...
So Ghost Scum, he's putting in these examples, these clip chimps, and I don't know what he's trying to prove with it. This is from Tim Dillon subreddit. If you mention Lex Friedman got his PhD from Drexel, which has like a 75% acceptance rate, and not MIT, you automatically get banned from Lex's sub. How do we... I don't know. It's not necessarily evidence that that's true just because you put a picture of someone saying that. Rico Reckles 617. But you could show, a lot of times people prove that by like showing their post history and their banned notification message that they get when they get banned. You could show that. But what is he talking about here?
So eager to cover up the fact that he went to Drexel and not MIT? Well, because Lex uses this to give himself authority when speaking.
So at this point, he seems to be talking about
Lex Friedman, MIT.
Lex Friedman, MIT. He's saying like somebody writes that, or like that's written somewhere, right? Based on his body language use of the finger wagging, right? He's trying to say this is what's written. Let me find a tool I think can help us figure out where this came from. Okay. It's this website here, Filmot. And I'm wondering if they have the Lex Friedman. Lex. Okay, we do have it.
Also, which is something those people seem to sometimes care about.
Search for an exact expression of, or use the proximity operator. Okay, I need to put quotes around it. Okay, here we go. I think we found it.
Also, which is something those people seem to sometimes care
So
about.
let's take it back
followers. Worried that the kind of arrogance with which things are being discussed here will further divide us, not unite us. And before I said even the unite us, further divide us, I was thrown off stage. Now, this isn't where I mentioned platform, but like I am like Lex Friedman, MIT, also, which is something those people seem to sometimes care about, the followers and stuff like that. Like, did you just do that? And then they said, enough of that nonsense. Enough.
Okay, I
for
need to
that
take it back a little
nonsense.
more.
They said, and then they fought.
He got
further
kicked off the
divide. Humans are
stage.
being that come on stage on Clubhouse. Everybody, the whole thing was, and it was a pro science room. As these talk to regular people in Russian, but a few big Russian conversations. There's an app called Clubhouse. I've gone back on it recently to practice Russian, unrelated, for a few big Russian conversations coming up. Anyway, it's a great way to talk to regular people in Russian. But I also I was nervous. I was preparing for a Pfizer CEO conversation, and there was a vaccine room, and so I.
Pfizer CEO? It was a vaccine. What?
Anyway, it's a great way to talk to regular people. Way to talk to regular people in Russian. But I also I was nervous. I was preparing for
This dude fucking mumbles.
a Pfizer CEO conversation.
For a Pfizer CEO conversation?
And then there was a vaccine room.
There was a vaccine room. So he's on an app where he's talking to people in Russian, and he's also preparing for a Pfizer CEO conversation.
And so
and there was a vaccine room.
Joined it, and it was a pro science room. As these are like scientists that were calling each other pro science. The whole thing was like theater to me. I mean, I haven't.
What's this app he's talking about?
Into science because they want to help the world.
They get excited by the ideas, and they really are working hard to help in whatever the discipline is. And then there are sources of funding which help you to help at larger scales. You admire the people that are distributing the money because they're often, at least on the surface, are really also good people. Oftentimes they're great scientists. So like it's amazing. That's why I'm sort of like sometimes people from outside think academia is broken some kind of way. No, it's a beautiful thing. It really is a beautiful thing, and that's why it's so deeply heartbreaking. Where this person is, I don't think this is malevolence. I think he's just incompetence in communication.
Well,
Twice.
I think there's also arrogance at the bottom. So here it's that science that we're recommending, and I think that is like him. That every other policy like that.
I don't give a fuck about anything they're saying. Like it's these dumb fucks like whining about how they like couldn't go to the fucking restaurant for 2 weeks 4 years ago. I guess this is 3 years ago, so it would have been 2 years before them. Before that, they're still fucking whining like babies because they had to wear a mask and social distance, and it's like they all pissed their pants and cried and whined like babies, and then grifted fucking books and bullshit. The case against lockdowns. Fuck this guy. I don't give a fuck. I just want to know his stupid story about how he was on an app and they kicked him off the stage. And he was like, what? How could you do this to me? I think I'm starting to get it.
And
He's
what I
like,
wanted was,
yo, I'm from MIT. How could you do this to me?
so for instance, written schools and do other hit the fee
There's an app called Clubhouse.
existing policy.
So I've there's an app called Clubhouse.
There's an app called Clubhouse. Clubhouse app. Maybe I could practice Russian, learn Russian, and talk to Lex Friedman. Hang out with friends, meet new ones. Real-time virtual rooms in which users can communicate with each other via audio. Okay. That sounds like a pretty normal thing. Can you do it without a phone? Apparently not. Let me just get a job. I'll just get a job there instead. And then I'll go to a real room. Meet us on Clubhouse. What? I have to go to Clubhouse? Scrappy, brilliant, ambitious teammates. Why are they scrappy? Software engineer. Head of discovery. What's it take to be a head of discovery? So, shaping the roadmap of AI, of adding AI to this company. What if I got this job and I was like, let's just not. I think it's just going to be better to not. And then when like every other company is infected with AI bullshit, we can proudly say like, just all humans, man. Pure human company. Right here will have everlasting value. Okay, so he went on the Clubhouse app. Let's see, are there like, I don't know, videos of people like doing stuff on Clubhouse? Christians v. Muslims. Oh, God. Plastic, good or evil? A Clubhouse debate. Okay, let's see this. Because obviously that is kind of a good debate because there's so much to go back and forth on. Because it's like plastic is one of those things that is just like there's like a zillion uses that you could all spin to be like, oh, this was good. This was life-saving. We put blood in the plastic bags and it's transferred through plastic tubes in order to save your life. All these plastic components in all of these life-saving ambulance vehicles. But then it's like, well, what about all the fucking plastic trash that doesn't biodegrade and gets in all of every animal on Earth and in every body in microform? That's not good. Yeah, but fuck you, man. Anyway, let's see what I don't care about the plastic debate. I just think it's a good debate topic because there's just a lot of juice there. There's a lot, both sides are going to have lots of back and forth. Makes for a good debate. We're going to skip somewhere in the middle of this. It doesn't appear to be any video.
Proven toxicity effects on.
It's not all the same plastic. It's not the same.
Okay. So it's kind of like a podcast, but all the audio is really terrible. How to moderate a room in Clubhouse.
The great leaders. That's why moderating is so important, but also very tricky, because you need to know how to read the energy in a room. You need to know how to master this conversation practice in the real world. It'll be much.
This guy just makes me want to YouTube poop this. This seems like a good YouTube poop thing.
The great leaders, the goal, the great note to the magic, moderation, blame in reach beyond to every that we do. The goal is moderation. Moderation is the key to everything we do, to the conversations we have with our loved ones, to the way we interact with them, and especially in the context of Clubhouse, an audio-only social app. If you want to create conversations that matter on, to make sure when at the same room, Clubhouse thing.
I want someone to show me them using the app. ¿Cómo funciona Clubhouse?
Hola,
There we
¿cómo
go.
estás? Ya te
Bien.
habíamos contado sobre funciona la aplicación. Vamos a ver. En los principios que tenemos de uno de los metiéndonos en las temáticas que nos empiezan a interesar, te va a estar saliendo, ¿verdad? Ahora, ¿qué pasa? Si Clubhouse empieza a notar que, por ejemplo, empezamos a seguir, empezamos a entrar a algunas charlas, empezamos a crear nuestras propias salas, eventualmente nos va a estar habilitando más invitaciones. Es decir, pareciera que a medida que uno empieza a utilizar más y más la aplicación y la red social, le otorga a uno más invitaciones. Eso nos hace a nosotros como... Y después tenemos aquí nuestro perfil, tenemos nuestra foto, el pequeño avatar. ¿Te está gustando para ti charlas? Una en la sala, ¿sí? La gente que ¿sí? Y sepa que se trata de una prueba. Ahí vamos a dar let's go a nuestro tenemos usuarios que
Okay. It just seems like a dumb app. It just does voice chat with people, and you can create your own little voice chat room. All right. So Lex was on Clubhouse. He's on an app, and he joins a room about science and about vaccines. Okay. I think we're all set.
I've gone back on it recently to practice Russian, unrelated, for a few big Russian conversations coming up. Anyway, it's a great way to talk to regular people in Russian. But I also, I was nervous. I was preparing for a Pfizer CEO conversation, and there was a vaccine room, and so I joined it. And it was a pro science room. It's these are like scientists that were calling each other pro science. The whole thing was like theater to me. I mean, I haven't thoroughly researched, but looking at the resume, they were like pretty solid researchers and doctors, and they were mocking everybody who was at all. I mean, it doesn't matter what they stood for, but they were
mocking. They're chit-chatting on an app about science. Like, have you ever been around like scientists? They're people. We like to fucking talk shit. we like to make fun of people, like to be sarcastic. I'm saying, like, I've been in groups where some of the people were scientists, or like, you know, people in academics. It's not, you're not like always like, oh, I thought we should be very serious, but also, you know, that kind of like unpierceable professionalism of like the idea of like those, you know, the 1960s astronauts. Like, they would never curse. They kept everything 100% professional. Even when they were like scared for their life, they'd be like, Roger that. Okay, gonna try a little maneuver with this one. Roger. 1514, right? And it was like, oh, what was happening during that time is like when they were saying all those calm things, it's like their oxygen tanks were like billowing out into space and they were like spinning wildly. And, you know, they had to like rejigger the life support system by taking apart, you know, some other thing. And all the while they're just like, yeah, Roger, gonna 246 that. No emotion in the voice, whatever. That was kind of a thing. That was sort of an air. That was something they were very, very, very aware of doing and being like, because they knew they were being listened to by everybody. It was one of the first like live stream, like, okay, we're live. Everyone watch what you say, because there's no like beep button. Anyway. All right, so he's like, so, oh, poor Lexopher. He's like, they were mocking people.
Science room. It's like these are like scientists that were calling each other pro-science. The whole thing was like
there was a science room. It was like these scientists who were calling each other pro-science. Hi there. Nice to meet you. I'm a chemist. What do you do? Oh, I'm a geologist. Huh, fuck yeah. You're pro-science. Nah, dude, you're pro-science. Yeah, dude. But I think you're pro-science. And then a third guy comes in. Hey, what's up, pro-scientist? Pro-science guys? I'm a fucking physicist. They're like, oh, hell yeah, this dude's definitely pro-science. Bet your ass I am. Hey, what are you guys talking about in here? Are you talking about science? Because I'm a anthropologist. Oh, fuck yeah, you're pro-science. This is an app where anyone can create a room. If someone makes a room on a public chatting app called Pro Science, they're probably not going to get like only scientists. They might even avoid a lot of I don't know, a lot of scientists might not want to talk about that. They might want to talk about other shit. That sounds more like political people. Pro science, right? Especially when it's like 2 years into COVID and you were like pro science. Like, obviously, dude. Obviously. You're not talking to fucking researchers and serious academics. They're not probably wasting their time in a little chat room called Pro Science. Like, wait a minute, I am a scientist, therefore I am pro science. Well, I shall join this conversation then. Yes, that's what I'll do. I am a very serious scientist. Watch as I, I don't know. That's what he's hoping for. That's what he's expecting when he sees pro science. He doesn't think it's going to be a bunch of political arguments about fucking masks and vaccines and shit. That's exactly what it would be. Anyone with a brain would know that. Like, oh, it's just all these different rooms where random people can get together and talk about whatever they want. This one's called Pro Science. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. I'm sure it's a bunch of scientists. No, dude. It's a bunch of people with political opinions. That's all it is.
They're like scientists that were calling each other pro-science. The whole thing was like theater to me.
The whole thing was like theater to me. The whole... It was a chat room. It's not like... It's not something we haven't had for fucking 25 years. It's chat rooms. I used to fucking go and talk to people in chat rooms when I was a kid. And I'm 40 now.
I mean, I haven't thoroughly researched, but looking at the resume, they were like pretty solid researchers and doctors.
Okay, so you had researchers and doctors that were solid. But you didn't actually look into it.
It was like theater to me. I mean, I haven't thoroughly researched, but
I haven't thoroughly researched.
looking at the resume,
But looking at the resume. The resume? So he opens a chat app. He finds a room called Pro Science. And though he didn't thoroughly research it, he looked at the resume. Do Clubhouse chat rooms? Chat rooms. Do they have a resume? I mean, let's look here. Everyone's talking about a new social... Okay, so maybe he's talking about profiles. He looked at people's profile. That must be what he meant. Looking at the resume. Looking at the profiles on this fucking app. It's not a resume. So, also, just keep in mind, people can fucking bullshit and make fake profiles and write fake stuff about what they are and what they do, just like you do.
like pretty solid researchers and doctors, and they were mocking.
I just love his tone of voice change. And they were mocking. It reminds me of just like a little tattletale kid of like running up to a teacher and like they were cussing. There was some bad kids and they were cussing.
Everybody who was at all, I mean, it doesn't matter what they stood for, but they were just mocking people, and the arrogance was overwhelming.
Wait a minute. Is that... It was all... I mean, it doesn't matter what... What were they mocking people for?
Everybody.
They were mocking everybody. So, also, this already just doesn't make sense, because he just says he went into the room, and they were all researchers and scientists, and he checked their profiles, but not thoroughly. And they were mocking everybody. Everybody in that same room? Mocking each other? Or they were like saying, everybody who's not in this chat room is a dum-dum. What do you mean they were mocking everybody? And what about, Lex? Does that even matter at all?
Who was at all, I mean, it doesn't matter what they stood for, but
Who was at all? I mean, it doesn't matter what they stood for. They were mocking everybody who was at all. Well, it doesn't matter what they stood for.
they were just mocking people. And
But they were just mocking people. Oh my god, dude. So you went to a social discussion app to a room called Pro Science. You looked at some profiles, and some of the people had PhDs and appeared to be working as researchers. By the way, that doesn't necessarily mean you're a scientist, that you're a researcher. Anyone could get a job as a researcher, depending on what they're researching. But they were just mocking people. They were mocking everyone who stood for... I mean, it doesn't matter what they stood for. They were just mocking people. Well, why wouldn't it matter what they... Like, I think you would... unless Lex is trying to say that mockery itself is just like such a cruel and terrible thing that nobody, not even the Nazis, deserve that to happen to them. It's so cruel and inhuman that he wouldn't even wish it against his greatest enemy. But I don't know if that's true. I don't know if he's gonna say mockery is like the capital fucking crime, capital sin. They were killing people. Then I get it. They were killing people who stood for, I mean, it doesn't matter what they stood for. They were killing people. Okay. I could kind of get that. I could get down with that. That, yeah, you should be horrified by that. And we should denounce the people who were doing that, who were killing people. But you're like, they were mocking people. So let's go.
And the arrogance was overwhelming. I had to shut off because I couldn't handle that human beings can be like this too. I had to shut off people, and the arrogance was overwhelming.
The arrogance was overwhelming. Yeah, I know that feeling, Lex. I know the feeling when you get very irritated by hearing someone be very arrogant. Do you know why I know that? Okay, come on, Lex.
I had to shut off.
I had to shut off. Do you mean shut it off or shut off? What does that mean to shut off? You mean shut it off. I had to close the app. Is that what you're saying, Lex? He talks so bad. He's got a bad way of talking. His sentences come out ungrammatical so often. I had to shut off.
Because I couldn't handle that human beings can be like this.
I couldn't handle that human beings can be like this. I had to shut off because I couldn't handle that human beings can be like this. Can you believe human beings would mock another human? Again, if he wants to argue that mockery is a capital crime, I'd love to hear your reasoning.
To each other. And then I went back.
And then I went back.
Just to double check.
Just to double check. Wait a minute. I can't handle how human beings can treat each other so cruelly. Listen to them mock each other. But I need to just double check. Let's go back and double check. Was that really what they were doing?
Is this really happen? How many people are here? Is this theater? And then,
is this really, how many people are here? Is this theater?
To double check, is this really happen? How many people?
Is this really how many people? Like, finish your fucking sentence.
People are here. Is this theater? And then I asked to come on stage on Clubhouse to.
And then I asked to come on stage on Clubhouse. I asked to come on stage on Clubhouse.
To make a couple comments, and then.
To make a couple comments. A couple comments, he says.
And then I asked to come on stage on Clubhouse to make a couple comments, and then as I.
To make a couple comments. He really says make a cup of comments.
And then I asked to come on stage on Clubhouse to make a couple comments, and then as I open my mouth, I say thank you so much. You know,
I said thank you so much, dude. If you sounded like this, I would absolutely kick you off the stage in a second.
This is a great room, sort of the.
Yeah. So start off by lying, because your first impression of this place was that it was so horrifying that you had an existential crisis. You said, I had to shut off because I couldn't believe
handle the.
I couldn't handle the truth,
Human beings.
the fact that human beings can be so cruel to each other. That concept never really hit Lex until he was in a chat room where he heard PhDs mocking people. That's what turned him. That's his black pill. He's like, wait a minute, how can a human being be so awful? He then left that chat room, but then decided he has to double check because he has some questions. His questions were, how many people are here? And is this theater? And then he decides to get on stage. And he starts off by saying, thank you, this is a great room. So he first thing he does is he lies to them about his feelings and his intentions.
Things can be like this to each other. And then I went back just to double check. Is this really happen? How many people are here? Is this theater?
So he has 3 questions. Is this really hap? How many people are here? And is this theater?
And then I asked to come on stage on Clubhouse to make a couple comments. And then as I open my mouth, I say, thank you so much. You know,
As I open my mouth and say, thank you so much, you know.
this is a great room, sort of the usual civil
This is a great room, sort of the usual civil politeness.
all that kind of stuff. And I said, I'm worried that the kind of arrogance with which things are being discussed here will further divide us, not...
Yeah, I would kick him right there. Like, shut up. We're here to fucking fight about issues, man. We don't need some asshole to come in and be like, you're both right. We should all be nicer to each other and get along and unite together. No, Dick, that's why we're all in this one fucking chat room that's called Pro Science. It's about debating shit. It's about mocking all these dum-dums. There's so many dum-dums out there, Lex. Don't you realize how fucking stupid everybody is? You're supposed to make fun of them. Jesus Christ. You're one of the dum-dums. You're so fucking dumb.
Unite us. And before I said even the unite us, further divide us, I was thrown off stage.
Thrown off stage. They picked him up and they threw him off of the stage. Meaning a moderator pushed a button and they said, like, no, you're not on stage anymore. Yeah, dude, because nobody wants to hear that. You're a scientist. Talk about science. Don't talk about manners. I'm worried that... And also, you're talking like a douchebag. If you want to call out another person, point that person out and say, this guy with this PhD is a dickhead. Okay, is he wrong? If he's wrong, then just talk about that. Like, hey, this dickhead is wrong. He's also being really arrogant about it, but that's just annoying because it's wrong because of X, Y, and Z. So not only is he wrong, he's a dickhead. I'm sure that would have gone over way better. Instead, you talk in these generalities where you're not pointing out a specific person, but you're just using passive language.
Arrogance with which things are being discussed.
The kind of arrogance with which things are being discussed here will further divide us, not unite us.
Here will further divide us, not unite us. And before I said even the unite us, further divide us.
Before I even said the unite us, further divide us. No, the first you said is further divide us, not unite us. He's like, before I even could say that, they kicked
and,
me
and
off.
before I said even the unite us, further divide us, I was thrown off stage. Now, this isn't where I mentioned.
Wait, he's saying when I said divide us, they cut me off before I could say not unite us. If only they had heard the part about uniting us. Dude, if something divides you, it's logically necessary that it does not unite you. So you didn't have to add that in order to make the point. Right? Also, when you say divide us, who are you talking about? You're in a chat room full of people who want to debate about science. And actually debate about politics, probably more likely. It's a bunch of political people. It's a bunch of politics people. You dumb fuck. And he's trying to say, like, this is the problem with science, with mainstream science. You're such a stupid dickhead.
Platform, but like, I am like Lex Friedman, MIT. Also,
Okay, so when he's doing this, I thought he was mocking what someone else had written. He's describing his own Clubhouse profile. I gave him too much credit.
which is something those people seem to sometimes care about.
Okay, so now I know what he means when he says those people. He's talking about the meanie heads who were mocking him in the chat room.
Followers and stuff like that.
They care about followers and MIT.
Like, did you just do that? And then they said, enough of that nonsense.
Okay. Yeah. Lex absolutely is using the MIT to try to puff up his own self-importance. 100%. I've found the context, and I agree with Ghost Gum. Now, I know your video, you got to edit your own video, but I mean, a little bit of context on that would have helped. Because I had to go looking for it. I had to learn about a whole app and everything. But we did it.
Enough of that nonsense. They said to me, enough of that nonsense. Somebody who is obviously interviewed Francis Collins.
Ooh! They said that to me. Someone who has interviewed Francis Collins. Holy shit, dude. If you think a bunch of political people, and I'm sure some of them had PhDs, some science people who are scientists are also political people. And they definitely use their PhDs to flap and swing their proverbial dicks around in order to, talk with authority. So I'm not saying that the people in that chat room weren't dickheads. I'm sure they were complete dickheads. But nobody in that kind of chat room wants to hear someone castigate them for being too arrogant. Like when you're arguing about something and you're like, I know I'm right, you're wrong. And they're like, no, you're not, you're wrong, I'm right. Do you want a third person to come in and interrupt both of you and take stage time to say, I feel like some of the, first of all, to mumble through your polite pleasantries was probably already annoying enough. Hello, thank you. It's great to be here, and then appreciate it. This is a great room. Yeah, I just have a concern that a lot of the people the argumentation is fueled. There's a lot of arrogance, and I feel like the arrogance with which things are being discussed will have the risk of further dividing us and failing to unite. Hey, what? How could you kick me? Me? Look, it says right here, Lex Friedman, MIT. You know for a fact that I interviewed Francis Collins. He thought that he could go into a fucking chat room called Pro Science and that you'd get all these people who are like, oh my God, I'm the biggest Francis Collins stan in the world. Lex, you've literally talked to him. Oh my God. Lex, if I talk to you and you talk to Francis Collins, then I'm only 1 degree of separation from my God King. Everybody, look, it's the guy who interviewed Francis Collins. I'm sure he has so many wonderful anecdotes about Francis Collins. And of course, Francis, being such a brilliant genius, would never ever do a podcast with someone unless the podcast interviewer was also a brilliant scientist. By the way, no shade to Francis Collins. I'm sure he's great. I couldn't tell you too much about him. Physician, and former director of the National Human Genome Institute. Wait a minute. He converted from atheism to Christianity in his 20s. And after reading several works by C.S. Lewis. Oh my God. Is he in the Discovery Institute? This dude writes pop science books. Dr. Francis Collins, he appears on TV and he writes books. These are not the kind of people that scientists are like goobing over. If you had interviewed Albert Einstein, you might get some people who are like, holy shit, what was Albert like? Do you have any stories about like what happened before and after the interview? Did you guys keep talking after the recording? What does he smell like? A lot of people might, I don't know. I just feel like Francis Collins. Come on, dude.
Followers and stuff like that. Like, did you just do that? And then they said, enough of that nonsense. Enough of that nonsense. They said to me, enough of that nonsense.
So what?
They sure did, Lex. Okay, this one passes the test. You know, it took a little while to really get into that. But I'm kind of glad I did, because this is one of those things where, like, okay, they're gonna cut a little clip of someone out of context. He uses his MIT to boost his own position.
Speaking.
Lex Friedman.
Well, because Lex uses this to give himself authority when speaking.
To give himself authority. Yeah. That whole story is fucking pathetic. And it's straight out of his own mouth. He barely had to, oh. That's fucking sad and pathetic. So what is his affiliation with MIT?
Is his affiliation with MIT. Apparently what Lex did is what a lot of slimy academics do to boost their clout. Somebody from MIT commented on these dubious.
I've come across a handful of people in the last few years that figured out how easy it is to become vaguely affiliated with MIT. Then they used the university email to add some spin to their affiliation. And all of a sudden, they've gotten a bunch of new opportunities, and it only builds from there. People within academic circles will know the difference, but outside, not necessarily.
Practices. Basically, what people will do is the bare minimum to get associated with the school. So for Lex, he gave a free lecture for no marks. He managed to get an MIT email as a result. People who aren't involved with MIT see that and think, wow, that's prestigious. Also, as somebody with a PhD, it's possible you could offer to do unpaid research for MIT, then you get library access, and most importantly, the MIT email.
As a research scientist at MIT, I've had, and especially just part of a large set of collaborations, I've had a lot of students come to me and talk to me about ideas.
In reality, the only thing
He's just like, as a MIT professor researcher, it's just like, God, dude, look at this. This is him. And he's got some equations over here. I equals CFDR equals 1 + 1 = 2. Holy shit. What is that? Recap. Vector line integral of a VF I'm curious, what is all this? What is I equals this whole shit? Force direction equals 1 + 1 = 2? I just don't know math. I've discussed at length on this stream my shortcomings with mathematics. But I just noticed there's a 1 + 1 = 2 at the end of this. There's a equals 1 + 1 = 2. So I don't know.
I've been able to confirm regarding the relationship between Lex and MIT is that he did teach a non-credit after-hours community class. That was also out of semester. So no, this doesn't make you a professor or even an associate professor. It makes you a guy who spoke at MIT one time. So Lex could be doing free research for MIT and teaching free classes, but saying he researched and taught at MIT is technically true. In the same way the guy who cleans floors at the Tesla factory works for Tesla. It's like Brendan Schaub claiming he was in the NFL because he tried out for the Bills, not realizing that literally anyone can just show up to a tryout.
College football, NFL.
Yep.
You were on the training team, or not training
Buffalo
team.
Bills.
Buffalo
yeah.
Bills.
Yeah, camp.
What the fuck happened?
Training camp?
Yeah, yeah.
I pulled a hamstring.
What my favorite part of
Training camp. I pulled a hamstring. That's such a clear lie. I pulled a hamstring.
about this whole saga is that for all of his profile pictures, Lex uses this photo of him speaking at MIT, and you'll notice all this complicated math behind him. You'd think that this is Lex's math, but no, it was the guy before him who wrote all this stuff on the board, and Lex just walked in after and gave a lecture.
Oh, well, this is different. There was another one that had the 1 + 1 = 2. That one, he's in a different suit. He should have had that as his. Just crop it right there, so it's just 1 + 1 = 2. In fact, I'm gonna do that. Let's get a good. There we go. Do 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 do. There we go. That's our new Lexopher profile pic. 1 + 1 = 2. I'm a professor. Who is Lexopher Friedman? All right, let's keep going.
But saying he researched and taught at MIT is technically true. In the same way the guy who cleans floors at the Tesla factory works for Tesla. It's like Brendan Schaub claiming he was in the NFL because he tried out for the Bills, not realizing that literally anyone can just show up to a tryout.
College football, NFL.
Yeah.
You were on the training team, or not training
Buffalo
team.
Bills.
Buffalo
yeah.
Bills.
Yeah, camp.
What the fuck happened?
Training camp?
Yeah, yeah.
I pulled a hamstring.
What my favorite part about this whole saga is that for all of his profile pictures, Lex uses this photo of him speaking at MIT, and you'll notice all this complicated math behind him. You'd think that this is Lex's math, but no, it was the guy before him who wrote all this stuff on the board, and Lex just walked in after and gave a lecture. But it looks very fancy on literally all of his social media profile pictures. This is the original research that got me kind of interested in Lex. It got
That's pretty funny that he does use it on all his. I didn't even notice his YouTube profile pic. Is it that one? Huh. It is. Yeah, why would this asshole use that as his profile pic? 4.76 million subscribers. That's fucking funny.
pictures. This is the original research that got me kind of interested in Lex. It got me thinking, this is very shady. All of this is super suspicious. Why would you go so far to hide where you actually graduated from and push this MIT narrative so hard? In reality, any normal person would put that MIT as a footnote, but Lex makes it his entire personality and uses it when giving himself authority on certain topics. Now, Lex claims MIT still pays him as a researcher, so clearly he must be greatly respected in the academic world, right? Other academics could come out and speak positively about his work, and all of what I'm saying would be disproven or overblown. But what's interesting is that Lex's claim to fame was when he wrote a paper on the safety and effectiveness of Tesla's self-driving capabilities. Now, somebody like Lex, who's taught at MIT and researches and has so much background in academia, would obviously publish a paper like this academically, right? But it never was published academically, which is very strange for anyone at an alleged high level like Lex. Consider
Yes, hashtag peer review, it has its drawbacks, but completely skipping that is not the right approach. Open review system for the ICLR has been great for our field where reviewers have to post their review in open. Please do not go directly to media. That distorts AI research. Lex Friedman from MIT blocked me because I urged him to avoid AI media hype and publish in peer review venues. As a premier educational institution, how can you allow this? There are guidelines that university research should be released to the public.
academically, which is very strange for anyone at an alleged high level like Lex, considering he's had papers published in the past that are considered legit. But for this,
I think it's very obvious that Lex Friedman is a very, very sensitive boy, right? We read about how people said his paper wasn't good, and he called them hurtful and personal hurtful attacks. So horrible that it basically turned him into fucking Jesus Christ, and he had to turn the other cheek. So, and he's all about love and positivity. That it makes sense that he's probably just like, if I see anything at all negative towards me on Twitter, I will just block that person because I do not need that negativity in my life. Not great for trying to be a scientist, though.
paper, it was never peer-reviewed or even published via MIT. For those of you who don't know, a peer review is absolutely essential for any academic paper to be considered legit. Think of it as a quality control for papers that everybody has to meet. The bare minimum standard for an academic paper is a peer review. This paper that Lex wrote happened to be extremely favorable to Tesla. People in the tech industry absolutely reamed it. Nobody would co-sign it, nobody would peer review it, and even today it's extremely hard to find an archive of it. Most of what you can find on it is people shitting on how bad it is. In fact, experts in the field called it incorrect, biased, and misleading to the point of negligence. Most of what you can find on it is people shitting on how bad it is. In fact, experts in the field call people in the tier review it, and even today it's extremely hard to find an archive of it. Most of what you can find on it is people shitting on how bad it is. In fact, experts in the field called it incorrect, biased, and myself distanced themselves from so biased and so bad that people in the industry have actively distanced themselves from Lex as a result. Even people who aren't high-level academics want nothing to do with him, like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Have you seen Lex Friedman playing guitar while he's driving around a self-driving car? Yeah, Lex drove around in a Tesla while playing guitar. It's pretty fascinating. Have you done Lex's podcast?
No.
You would love him. He's an AI researcher. From MIT originally, and now he's mostly doing independent work and doing his own podcast. And
I like how Joe just says it all for him. He's a AI researcher at MIT, but now he kind of does his own thing and his own research and his own podcast. Like, he just says podcast in at the very end because he doesn't want it to be like he's a podcaster who taught like one lecture at MIT.
originally, now he's mostly doing independent work and doing his own.
Doing independent work and
podcast and
doing his own podcast.
Brilliant guy.
Brilliant guy.
You would love him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got an amazing podcast too.
Okay, so here it's going to be in this section.
I don't think
here.
you're interested in Lex's podcast. Lex actually is one of the most brilliant people I know.
Yeah, of course, Joe. You're the most potato-headed of them all. Inside and out.
I think you would love talking to him.
Or an interesting quote here from Walter Bagehot.
Despite how bad this paper was, it did catch the attention of somebody important, somebody who has a lot of interest in positive Tesla news, that being Elon Musk.
Legalize comedy. Yeah.
We know Elon isn't one for morals or facts as long as it makes him money and makes him feel good, so he signal boosted Lex super hard to the point of even appearing on his podcast after only 18 episodes. This has caused people to call Lex an industry plant, which, depending on if you consider this a plant move by Musk, could be true because it blew Lex up into mainstream podcasting. Some random AI researcher almost overnight became one of the biggest podcasters in
That's interesting though, because I actually did not fucking Lex is just like someone who just sort of showed up to the party and started talking, and everyone's like, "Who's this guy?" Oh, I figured it was that guy's friend, and it turns out like nobody fucking knows who this guy is. But it takes like 10 hours, and by then a lot of people have met him and got to know him. So it's like, okay, guess you could stay. But yeah, this guy suddenly just started it was whatever number of years ago, but he just popped up out of nowhere. That's why. He got the Elon boost.
In the world, pushing Lex as an intellectual who went to MIT and is a trusted source when it comes to research, even if none of those things are true, or at least half true. Ever since this interview with Elon, Lex has been an absolute Musk and Tesla meat rider. He will stop at no self-awareness to defend his hero Elon. While Elon could be considered Lex's jumpstart, his appearance on Rogan was what truly solidified him as a podcasting mainstay. Joe, being immune to bullshit, was immediately enthralled by Lex Fridman. Thinking this man was a super genius, he got him connected to some of the most influential people in podcasting, like Brendan Schaub. This left Lex and Joe with almost completely overlapping audiences, with Joe being the more Neanderthal-brained one and Lex being the alleged intellectual. Speaking of Neanderthal-brained, I want you to imagine this. Me arriving at the Melbourne airport. I am jet lagged, can barely function, and I'm forced to stand in a line at a cell phone kiosk to get a SIM card so I can use my phone. The attendant speaks an incomprehensible dialect of English known as Australian, and it takes me well over an hour to finally have my phone up and running. None of this would have happened if I used Saley, easily my favorite. For a data by fall had captured
I have in all the years of school.
he felt the need to be like.
He's also a martial artist. I forget about this. I thought there was some connection between him and fighting. Let's find out about this.
To do it. Since Lex had captured an audience similar to Joe Rogan's, he felt the need to be like Joe Rogan, which has led to some hilariously embarrassing moments like this.
So I learned more in these maths than I have in all my years. I'm a nerd, I got a PhD. I learned more about life, about the mind, and these maths than I have in all the years of school. If you want to be the best in the world at something like I do, I want to build robots better than anybody else in the world. Or whether that's...
He wants to build robots? I did not expect him to say that. I want to be the best in the world. I want to build the best robots in the world. Have you ever built a robot? You should be practicing. Like, the people who do BattleBots, they build robots every fucking year, all the time. They're always building robots. They're building new ones. They're really good at building robots. I'm probably way better than your ass would ever be. Because you said you learned more on these mats. I learned more on these mats. Sure, buddy.
At something like I do, I want to build robots better than anybody else in the world.
Also, why is he wearing a brown belt around his neck and wearing a black belt? What is this brown belt around his neck? Did he just get the black belt? If you just got the black belt, why does it already have a red stripe on it? I don't know. Maybe every karate studio does it differently, I guess. Maybe they start with the red stripe as when you first get the black belt. Are you just carrying your old belt around? Oh, I don't know.
If you want to be the best in the world at something like I do, I want to build robots better than anybody else in the world. Or whether that's knitting or yodeling, anything. Yeah.
It's really easy to get laughs in these kinds of situations when you're like, I just gotta like go up and say something in earnest, and then you can just say like the littlest funny thing, and you'll get a good chuckle. You know, these are the kind of rooms that are ripe for comedy. It's like giving a speech after like a karate class. Like everyone's just yeah, they're ready to laugh. They're ready to laugh.
You have to work, but you have to work hard.
It was around this time when people started.
I want to build robots better than anybody else.
I want to build robots better than anybody else.
In the world. Or whether that's knitting or yodeling.
Whether that's knitting or yodeling.
Anything.
Some people want to be the best at knitting in the world. Some people want to be the best at yodeling in the world. It's such a problem with this kind of mindset, this hustle-y, follow your dreams, be the best in the world at it. It's just such a stupid, like, what's the point of having an unrealistic goal like that? I think the idea is that you'll go as far as you can go, even if you never actually reach that ideal goal. But these are not even ideal goals of like, I want to be the best in the world at it. Like, what is it? It's framing the whole idea of implying that your success is contingent upon a competitive like concept of I have to be better than anyone else. It's a fucking mind virus of way of thinking. When people are like, oh, just the best doctors and the best blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't need the best whatever in the world. Because, like, the difference between, like, the best guitar in the world and a great guitar is going to be completely subjective. It's going to be maybe defined more about things like personal characteristics that may or may not suit the style of the particular artist. So while one guitar might be the best guitar in the world for me, it's not going to be the best in the world for you. And so, yeah, if you're like, I want to be the best robot maker in the whole world. Okay, first of all, I think has Lex ever built a robot? Lex Fridman, robot building. I'm a great robot builder because I did a podcast interview with a guy from Boston Dynamics. Yeah, by the way, Boston Dynamics, they're building robots. They've been doing it for a minute. Did Lex Fridman actually go to MIT? Let's see one of your robots. How to make robots move like humans.
My professors and he showed me this robot doing a somersault. And I just immediately went, whoa, you know?
Yeah.
Robots can do that. And because of my own interest in human around.
Was there something you just fundamentally appreciated about the elegance and beauty of movement?
That's such a Lex question. Was there something you appreciated about the beauty and elegance of movement? Yeah, I think I appreciated the beauty and the elegance of it. Like, what did you appreciate? Was there something you appreciated about the beauty and elegance? Well, I think there was something I appreciated about the beauty, which was that it was beautiful. I've always thought that beautiful things have a type of beauty to them. What about elegance? Well, to be honest, I didn't really like the elegance. It kind of took away a bit from the robotic nature of it. So I'd like it to be beautiful, but we're actually going to dial back the elegance, I think, on the next prototype. Was there something you... Just like... I mean, it's... If this was court, that would be, like, objected for being a leading question. Because it's... He basically said the answer. He should have said... The question should have been, well, what about the movement did you like? And he could have said, well, it was just beautiful and elegant. It was just elegant, beautiful movement. Oh, that's what you liked. What was it about the movement that you liked? Well, I just liked how it was beautiful and elegant. That sounds like a normal conversation. But to say, was there anything you liked about the beauty and the elegance of the movement? What's he supposed to say? No. There was nothing I liked about it. You might as well just, if you're an interviewer, you just say that the movement is beautiful. It's elegant, isn't it? That's all you're trying to say. You're trying to get him to agree that it was beautiful and elegant. But you don't even do that. You just say, you just ask him if there was anything he enjoyed, if there's anything he appreciated about the beauty and elegance. Like, it's not even a question as if it's beautiful, if it's elegant. He just says, the beauty and the elegance. Was there anything about that you enjoyed? What's so great about this beauty and elegance? Such a dumb shit. I every time I hear him talk, like everything he fucking says, he's ridiculous. I'm trying to see if Lexopher has ever built a robot, because he's talking to this robot builder. Wouldn't he be saying stuff like, "Oh yeah, I made a robot," and blah, blah.
Movement.
It's definitely more efficient. It also becomes easier to control in its own way, because the physics are solving some of the problem itself. It's not like you have to do all this calculation and overpower the physics. The physics naturally, inherently want to do the right thing. There can even be, feedback mechanisms, stabilizing mechanisms that occur simply by virtue of the physics of the body. And it's, not all in the computer, or not even all in your mind as a person. And there's something interesting in that melding.
Bro, just all of these guys just so fucking insufferable.
Of Leg Lab and MIT in the basement. Space.
What? Lex is talking with fucking cloth in his mouth. Enunciate, you fool.
With Mark for many, many, many years.
Something interesting in that melding.
God, dude, there's something interesting in the melding. They all talk up fucking close to their microphone and talk so revoltingly soft.
You were with Mark for many, many, many years. But you were there in this kind of legendary space
You were there with Mark for many years. You were there in this legendary space.
Leg Lab and MIT in the basement. All good. Of Leg Lab and MIT.
And he starts laughing to himself that it was in a basement. What do people have about basements? I know there's some parts of the country that don't have basements. I don't have a basement where I live now, but I did growing up, and every house had a basement. And it's no different than any other part of the house. The only difference is the windows are way up high at the top instead of like in the middle of the wall. But it's just a fucking part of your house. It's just a room. We had 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a living room in the basement. And upstairs we had another living room and 2 other bedrooms and a kitchen. What is it about basements that fucking freak people out all the time? Anytime they talk about something nefarious happening on the internet, they're always like, it's some kid in a basement. And even worse, your mother's basement. Basements are not like cellars. It's not a fucking cellar. It's not just like a little dark, muddy crawl space with bugs and shit. It's your house. It's just like half submerged in the earth. That's all that is. People fucking flip out about basements. I'm so tired of it. I stand basements. I think more buildings should be basements. If it works for, geologically, as long as you got the right kind of soil or bedrock or whatever. I think basements are like I would love a whole town of basements. Like you just have these like small one, like a small entrance or whatever. Like you could have all these storefronts and these shops, and you go in and you go down the stairs and boom, there's all this wide open space in your basement. And you can have a lot of services and things required by people. And it's not like it's 50 feet underground. Like literally the top of the ground is like at the top of the ceiling because there's enough of, it only goes down to where you can still have a window well, so you still get sunlight down into the basements, right? It's not like a fucking deep hole. It's just buried down in the ground to where you could actually have other shit on top of it. You could have like a fucking park or trees or whatever, bike paths. Imagine like a whole neighborhood and city and all the shops and all the grocery stores, but they're not taking up so much space, right? You have more open areas, and you have like a whole shopping mall just like underneath it. That seems like a better way to do society. And then you'd stop getting these fucking comments where people are like, basements. Can you believe it? Came from a basement? I mean, of course. Like, wow, that's crazy. This was legendary. You were in the MIT basement? Oh my God. I can't imagine what kind of crazy stuff they come up with in the basement, but it can't be good. Oh man, but they did it. They're such badasses. Can you believe this came out of a basement? Watch him make himself laugh at the mention of a basement.
In the basement. All great things happen in the basement. Is there some memories? Is there some memories from that time that you have? Because it's.
You hear that fucking fake laugh? Basement. Basement. Do you have any favorite memories of that time? I don't give a fuck. Lex, have you ever made a robot?
Big problems to go.
Has Lex Fridman ever built a robot? Is he a robot? No. Show results with built. I want to know if he made a robot. The most epic robot he's ever made? Seen. God damn it.
The very first version of the logistics robot we built was a balancing robot, and that's called Handle.
Mm-hmm.
And there's
that thing was epic.
Oh, it's a beautiful machine.
It's an incredible machine. So it was. I mean, it looks epic. It looks like out of a sci-fi movie of some sorts. I mean,
what if I just can't get over how much of a marble mouth meathead this guy is? He's been talking for 12 seconds about how great this robot is. And I'm glad we're getting a shot of it in the corner, because all he said is like, it's like so epic. It's the most epic. And then he says, oh, like sci-fi. Like, say it looks like a fucking horse with wheels for the back legs.
Looks like out of a sci-fi movie of some sorts. I mean, just
a sci-fi movie of some sorts. I mean, fine, but you're such a just listen to this idiot.
Was
Oh, it's a beautiful machine.
It's a beautiful machine.
It's an incredible machine. So it was. I mean, it.
He's laughing. I mean, it looks
epic.
It looks epic.
Looks like out of a sci-fi movie.
It looks like out of a sci-fi movie of some sort.
Movie of some sorts. I mean, just can you actually just linger on the design of?
Can you actually just linger on that? Linger on that. Can you actually just linger on that?
That thing, because that's another leap into something you probably have.
That's another leap into something.
That's a different kind of balancing.
Yeah, so
I don't even think he knows what the fuck robot this is. Listen to how fucking vague he is. Like, he has no idea what this robot is. He's just like, that, yeah, that's the most beautiful, the robot you said? It's the most, it's like epic. It's epic. It's like something out of like some kind of sci-fi movie.
Kind of that thing, because that's another leap.
Do you want to just like...
Can you actually just linger on the design of that?
Can you actually just linger on that
thing? Because that's another leap into something you probably haven't done. It's a different kind of balancing.
Yeah, so let me. I'd love talking about the history of how a handle came about, because it connects all of our robots actually. So I'm going to start with Atlas. When we had Atlas getting fairly far along, we wanted to understand. I was telling you earlier, the challenge of the human form is you have this mass up high, and balancing that inertia, that mass up high, is its own unique challenge. And so we started trying to get Atlas to balance, standing on one foot, like on a balance beam, using its arms like this. And you can do this. I'm sure I can do this, right? Like you're walking a tightrope. How do you do that balance? So that's sort of controlling the inertia, controlling momentum of the robot. We were starting to figure that out on Atlas. And so our first concept of handle, which was a robot that was going to be on two wheels, so it had to balance, but it was going to have a big long arm, so it could reach a box at the top of a truck, and it needed yet another counterbalance, a big tail, to help it balance while it was using its arm. So the reason why this robot sort of looks epic, some people said it looked like an ostrich, or maybe an ostrich moving around, was the wheels, it has legs, so it can extend its legs. So it's wheels on legs. We always wanted to build wheels on legs. It had a tail and it had this arm, and they're all moving simultaneously and in coordination to maintain balance, because we had figured out the mathematics of doing this momentum control, how to maintain that balance. And so part of the reason why we built this two-legged robot was we had figured this thing out. We wanted to see it in this kind of machine, and we thought maybe this kind of machine would be good in a warehouse, and so we built it. And it's a beautiful machine. It moves in a graceful way like nothing else we've built, but it wasn't the right machine for a logistics application. We decided it was too slow and couldn't pick boxes fast enough, basically. And
it would do it beautifully with elegance.
But it just wasn't efficient enough. So we let it go.
Yeah.
But I think we'll come back to that machine eventually.
The fact that it's possible, the fact that you showed that you could do so many things at the same time in coordination and so beautifully, there's something there.
Yeah.
That was a demonstration of what is possible.
Okay, I don't know. I do like how that robot moved around. It did look like an ostrich. It was nice. I'm happy that I saw it. Lex adds absolutely nothing to this. I can't understand these Lex fanboys who are like, oh my god, what you do is so great and important. That robot's like, it's epic. It's epic. It's like something from a sci-fi movie. Can you just linger on that for a moment? I just want to meditate. I just want to hang out in this space where we're thinking about this robot. It's just so epic. It's like you're doing a podcast. And I know it's a video podcast, and you probably know that they can just slap up a fucking video of it. But famously, a lot of podcasts are just listened to. So if your listener doesn't know what the fuck that robot is, there's no way that you conveyed any of that information to the listener. You could at least be like, oh my god, it's so epic. So it's the two-wheel robot, right? It's basically got legs, and then it's one arm, kind of it's like an ostrich beak, right? Because it's just one arm sticking off the top, and then it's got this big counterweight that looks like a big booty, like its body, and it can roll around on two wheels, and it uses that big ass counterweight to keep itself balanced, and it can just roll around and turn around and spin circles and pick things up and put them down. It looks amazing. Tell me about how that came about. What was the thought process behind inventing that? That's what I would want to hear on the podcast, because then you could like imagine what the fuck they're talking about. And obviously the robot guy is also boring as shit and didn't do a very good job really explaining it all. But I did enjoy looking at the pictures of it. And I also didn't appreciate the just the greedy capitalism of like, this robot is beautiful and elegant, but it's not productive. So it will be discontinued. All right. Let's go back. He wants to be the greatest robot builder of all time. The greatest robot maker in the whole world. That's little Lexy's dream. But he hasn't made any robots.
Hilariously embarrassing moments like this.
So I learned more in these maths than I have in all my years. I'm a nerd, I got a PhD. I learned more about life, about the mind, and these maths than I have in all the years of school. If you want to be the best in the world at something like I do, I want to build robots better than anybody else in the world. Or whether that's knitting something like I do, I want to build robots better than anybody else in the world. Or whether that's knitting or yodeling, anything.
Right now, I'm just looking at the reactions. As soon as he says, I want to build robots, does anybody look at him with like, does anybody react at all? Let's watch Black Belt guy off
These
his
maths
left shoulder.
than I have in all my years. I'm a nerd, I got a PhD. I learned more about life, about the mind, and these maths than I
So he had a laugh at, I'm a nerd, I have a PhD. He's like, yeah.
have in all the years of school. If you want to be the best in the world at something like I do, I want to build robots better than anybody else in the world. Or whether that's knitting
He blinks.
or yodeling, anything. You have to work.
Does not react. He does a little mouth curl when he says knitting or yodeling. That seems like that might be even an inside joke, like someone mentioned yodeling before or something. Maybe they'd joked about that previously. Let's check out our guy in the glasses over
If you
here.
want to be the best in the world at something like I do, I want to build robots better than anybody else in the world. Or whether that's knitting or yodeling, anything. You have to work. But you have to work hard.
It was around this time when people started to realize
All right,
Lex does better
we're
when he's
done. Let's keep going.
pseudo-intellectually rambling about AI, not when he's trying to be an alpha male. Because he went to the Elon Musk school of cool, where being good at one thing is not enough. You can't just be a smart guy. You have to be the ultimate gamer, the ultimate musician, the best at everything. And much like when Elon does this, when Lex does it, it's insanely cringe. Now, for those of you who can't stomach cringe, I'm giving you a warning that this is one of the worst clips I've ever seen. You have been warned.
In the desert, I met a...
Oh my God. Are we ready for this? He's holding an acoustic guitar. I heard him playing electric before. It sounded pretty fucking mid. It sounded like Baby's first blues scale shit. He's learning how to do pulls.
This is one of the worst clips I've ever seen. You have been warned.
In the desert, I met a man with an eagle perching on his hand. And he asked me, son, what can I do for you? In this cruel world, there is a...
Did not like that third chord change. Hold on. Go back to that.
Warned.
In the desert, I met a man with an eagle perching on his hand.
In the desert, I met a man with an eagle perched on his hand. Let me introduce to you the one and only. He's doing Sergeant Pepper. But then and then it goes bad here.
And he asked me, son.
Whole step? Bro. No. No.
I met a man with an eagle perching on his hand, and he asked me, son, what can I do
Oh, God.
for you? In this cruel world, there is a man you should listen to as you journey on through life.
What? So he met a man with an eagle on his hand and he asked him what I can do for you. And in this life, there is a man on the journey that you should listen to.
His name is Joe Rogan.
What? Oh my God. He's obviously on Rogan, right? He's singing a song to Joe Rogan. John Rogan.
His name is...
He's also laughing like he's nervous.
Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan. Shoulders for days and a really wide back.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck, dude? What? No. No. Everything about this is so fucking awful. Okay, did they just hand him a guitar and say, all right, make up a song, and here's a list of fucking words that you have to include in the song. And it's like Eagle, Joe Rogan, in whatever. And this was like an improv game. And he was laughing because he's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. Like, I'm just making this up. This is awful. I didn't even want to play guitar. I don't even sing. Then I would give this a pass, okay? But it's still, I would give it a pass in that I'm not like deeply like hateful of this guy. I would say, stop it. It's not working. Let's get a new list. Let's get a different person to do it, because it's not funny. Like, the comedy's not there. That's so fucking cringe. And he's like, he's got shoulders for days. So a man with an eagle on his hand told us to listen to Joe Rogan, who's got big shoulders?
Joe Rogan, a barrel of snakes for a bag.
Barrel of snakes for bag? What?
Joe Rogan, a barrel of snakes for a bag.
You fucked up. You should have never done that song.
Yeah, you said it, Joe. You fucked up. Should have never done that. You absolutely should not have done that.
Song, it was terrible.
I can't put my...
Oh my God, dude. Okay, if he had sung anything that was resembling like a song, a melody with a chord progression, he was just making up fucking chords. Like, he has absolutely no concept of music theory or anything. Like, he just random fucking chords. And then just nothing singing. Joe Rogan. Like, you're not singing. The fact that you would do that on a fucking... Oh, God.
My finger on it, but I think what makes Lex so embarrassing is he's trying insanely hard to make it look like he's not trying, if that makes sense. Once you notice that he's a transparent figure, it makes everything he does groan-worthy. I mean, this guy basically faked his way to the top and is now still faking it. Lex has been getting ever more political lately. While claiming to be a centrist, he clearly has a bias, especially towards Trump and Elon or whoever else might take interest in his takes. Now, what's interesting is Lex can get bigger profile guests than Joe Rogan. Like, this guy had Jeff Bezos, Benjamin Netanyahu, and Oliver Stone on his podcast, plus all the high-profile Rogan guests like Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and even Trump. This has led to some people people questioning if his rise is authentic. Even Rogan-adjacent comedians are perplexed by the rise of Lex. What I think is more likely is that Lex has proven himself to be a puppet who will say whatever benefits people. Look at Elon Musk, for example. He will say whatever benefits Elon Musk and will never criticize him. Obviously displayed by his academic paper that greatly benefited him, despite if it was true or not, but even just the way he talks about Elon. Other powerful people with special interests noticed this and started going on Lex's show. This then naturally raises the prestige of the show. I was on Lex's show, the same show as Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Mark Zuckerberg. This is why Lex benefits from grifting as an unbiased, unopinionated academic, because people who believe him look at him as a trusted source who's gonna give you the facts, even if that's not true at all. Not as a guy whose show acts as a mouthpiece for rich and powerful people to push their agenda, regardless of facts. Lex claims that he will talk to anyone and everyone in a respectful way and that he has no bias, but anybody who's watched his show knows that that's not true at all. You can see using his own words, like when he refused to acknowledge January 6th as a coup attempt, despite him talking to an actual historian about it, which, by the way, most people, regardless of political belief, will say that this was a coup attempt. But by far the worst example of this is when he interviewed President Zelensky of Ukraine, which might be one of the worst high-profile interviews of all time. Now, before we talk about why that interview's so bad, we have to talk about love.
It's about love. You mentioned love. Why do we humans fall in love? Put love out into the world. I gotta ask you about love. Bukowski had this line about love being a fog that dissipates with the first light of reality.
Lex has this embarrassing obsession with the concept of love. He is constantly talking about love like a teenager who tried mushrooms for the first time. Why can't we all just love each other, man? It's super corny that a guy with as much academic background as Lex thinks that all problems in the world can be solved as if it's a fucking Disney princess movie.
And I definitely seek that kind of love with a life partner, with a person that I could, how does the saying goes, ride or die with. I can bury the bodies with them.
Most of the time it's just cringe and harmless, but sometimes it's downright delusional. Lex straight up asked Zelensky if he could forgive Putin with the power of love, which is maybe one of the dumbest things I've heard in my entire life. If somebody murdered your entire family and friends, would you use the power of love to forgive them? Lex heavily pressed Zelensky on Russia and the war and asked him some pretty hard-hitting questions, but will not give that same hard-hitting attitude to the other side. So with all this talk about love, Lex must be this stoic figure that really cares for all humans, except much like his entire persona, it's all an act. Proven when Mark Norman shared a story of Lex freaking out at a lady because her printer wasn't working.
Well, what's fun is we did it in a hotel in New York. He was in town for some reason, and the printer wasn't working in the lobby, and I got to watch him yell at the lady behind the desk, and that was weird, seeing him not be that robot guy. He was like, what the hell? The printer doesn't work? Get your shit together. And some girl like, I don't know.
Do you think Lex has love for her? Or better question, could he learn to forgive that printer? It's all a grift to prop up his image as this forgiving, nice guy intellectual. If you couldn't tell by watching the Zelensky interview, Lex is also a Russia shill. Now, it's not proved he's being paid by Russia like Tim Pool. We have to look a bit deeper when looking at Lex. Like when he was shitting on Zelensky after he met with Trump and Vance. But guys, he's totally unbiased and is just looking for solutions, which is why he had Thanksgiving dinner with the Trump family. Totally unbiased, by the way. If you think the guy who had Thanksgiving dinner with the Trump family and was made famous by simping for Elon Musk is unbiased, I have an MIT academic paper to show you that I definitely wrote, and if any of you in the comments say otherwise, you will be permanently banned from commenting on my videos. Lex is also a big believer in free speech, which is why he literally blocks anybody who criticizes him. Alpha male Lex might be one of the most sensitive people on the planet. Lex's block list on Twitter is probably in the thousands at this point. He blocks people who glance at his profile the wrong way. Anybody who criticizes him, blocked. Anybody who says he should get a peer review on his academic paper, blocked. Anybody who points out the university that he went to, which was Drexel and not MIT, you guessed it, blocked. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm blocked after this video, so follow me for more updates on that. The censorship has gotten so bad on Lex's subreddit that they had to create another one just to actually discuss and criticize Lex. People were getting banned for just simply asking questions about Lex's background. And when they're not banned, Sometimes we'll get a rare Lex sighting. Lex is so terminally online that he will randomly show up in comment sections to defend himself, saying that the internet is full of hateful, cruel people, but he still has love for them, of course. He disappears just as quickly once you question his ethics. Okay, but who cares about Lex's personal life or opinions? How is his podcast? Surely he must be a good interviewer. Joe Rogan, whether you like him or not, can carry a conversation. He's charismatic and can make even the most boring guests an entertaining chat, most of the time. Lex does not have this same skill. His podcast is incredibly boring and slow. In fact, if you want to listen to it, turn up the speed because it becomes way more tolerable. Beyond the biased shilling and corniness, Lex just isn't a great conversationalist, which leads to some incredible
This little meme right here, the kid who's like, "Did you ever do the do it when you want to do it?" That's exactly like a Lex question. Lex is like, that's him. It's the babbly babble bab kid.
Beyond the biased shilling and corniness, Lex just isn't a great conversationalist, which leads to some incredibly awkward and uncomfortable moments.
I'm as alpha in everything I do as he gets, and the fact that on Joe Rogan said that I thought Scent of a Woman is a better movie than John Wick put me into this beta category.
Lex has this really shady thing where nothing about him is really true. It's all half-truths, embellishments, withholding information, sometimes straight up censoring information. It's left people asking, what does this guy even do? Who is this guy? People have taken notice of this, especially over the years. Tim Dillon had an impeccable rant about these pseudo-intellectual types that basically sums it all up, including Lex.
That Lex Friedman interview is great. It's great. It's 6 hours because he takes 6 minutes to ask each question, but I love him. I'm just trying to stay in this, but he's great. He's a genius. And everyone says he's a genius. I don't know if he's a genius. What does he do? He's a coder?
Yeah, for AI.
Wait, what? So what does that even mean?
So like
Does anyone have to ask credentials anymore? Everyone goes, Eric Weinstein's a genie. Does anyone know why?
When it said unintelligible, he said Eric Weinstein is a genie. Eric Weinstein is a genius, is probably what he meant to say.
Does anyone know why? What? Is there anything they've done? No, truly, because all they do is talk. Is there anything they've built? Is there one appliance that they have anything to do with? Have they come up with something even like the Rotato, which peels and slices a potato as you could? Like, is there one thing any of them have done except whack off Elon Musk and talk? And you can't find a thing they do. What is their job? What?
Yeah, I thought he wanted to build robots. I found nothing so far that he builds any robots.
What is any of their jobs?
To do research.
Into what? Why and who? Where? Where's the what? They all do research all day, but they're all on Clubhouse for 9 hours. What are they researching? They're just talking about trans people. They're all supposedly tech geniuses who's talking about who has a cock. I'm not a fan of women getting beaten up by men in sport, but it's like, these are the best minds of our time, and all they're talking about is if somebody's tucking a D.
It's convenient that Lex and these other guys say academia is being corrupted so their audience ignores them, when Lex has been shady or half-truthing about his academic background for years now. Guys like Lex have become mainstays in Joe Rogan's space. Therefore, because Joe Rogan is basically mainstream now, these guys also become mainstream. Joe Rogan, podcaster and alleged comedian, has arguably become more mainstream than mainstream news. If you told me this would happen a few years ago, I'd call you crazy. But now guys like Lex have been able to become the mainstream, and I'm not afraid to say they're all grifters. All of them. They love to wax on about how the mainstream media is biased, speech is being censored, and they're the last line of defense. My guy, you are the mainstream media now. You're biased, you censor people, and you misrepresent shit all the time. I think what drives people insane nowadays is insincerity. People who claim to be something that they're not. And that's the only word I need to describe Lex. Insincere. He's the perfect example of a grifter. He claims to be an unbiased super genius alpha male, he is none of those things. He's an agenda-pushing grifter who desperately tries to fit into the Rogan sphere and continues to embarrass himself in the process. He claims to be all about love, but freaks out on random people, bans, and blocks anybody who mildly criticizes him. And most importantly, he's not a truth seeker. Lex is someone who just cares about blowing up his image and making himself more famous, which is fine. But don't pretend like you're not that. But the problem with Lex is he's in too deep now. He's grifted so hard, there's no going back. His entire persona and brand is propped up by the fact that he's an unbiased academic. If it somehow comes out that, hey, you didn't actually go to MIT, hey, some of your takes are pretty biased, you got put on by writing a bullshit paper. If any of this comes out, Lex is fucked. His whole brand and persona is shattered. That means less podcast views, no more dinners with Trump, no more conversations with world leaders and billionaires. So that's why Lex's strategy of playing victim and blocking people to control the narrative when he's called out is the only strategy that'll...
Why would you have a card that just says expired? Like, why would they print a card? Why would they print it if it's already expired? Also, like, it should say expires and then just say, like, put a year in the past. But why would the card say that it has already expired and it's printed out? That doesn't make sense.
Playing victim and blocking people to control the narrative when he's called out is the only strategy that'll work for him. And the worst part is Lex's audience will continue to buy into his victim complex, that he's actually a really nice and smart guy who's getting attacked for no good reason. He isn't respected by academics. He isn't motivational. He's a boring as shit podcaster. So why the fuck do people watch him? There's a running joke within the podcast world that Lex is an intelligence asset. I had a good laugh at this until I watched this episode with Tim Dillon, where Lex gets a bit defensive about calling other people intelligence assets.
Not do things overtly with our military and with U.S. policy and get things passed through Congress. You have a shadow organization.
Now, I won't go into it due to YouTube's ad regulations, but the end of this podcast had everyone saying that Lex is in the Mossad. I believe this to be true, not because I know of any links or proof that Lex is in the Mossad, but because it's the only explanation on why one of the most boring podcasters ever gets to interview some of the most high-profile people on the entire planet. Also, recently, since the Trump and Elon falling out, Lex has said they need to do a podcast and saw podcast views, no more dinners with and with podcast had everyone saying that Lex is in the Mossad. I believe this to
I think that Lex is in the Mossad. So the Mossad is like the CIA, but for Israel. Okay. I mean, sure. I can kind of understand where Ghost Gum is coming from.
To be true, not because I know of any links or proof that Lex is in the Mossad, but because it's the only explanation.
Is Lex Friedman just the luckiest grifter of all time? How the fuck did he go from a random guy pretending to be an MIT professor to being like a top 5 most listened to media personality while possessing the charisma of a potato with brain damage? Yeah, and because of his Israel-Palestine debate thing, the fact that he lied to... He basically, like, lied and tricked Norm Finkelstein into debating Destiny. Because he asked him if he would debate Destiny. Norm said, fuck no. And then he said, okay, but would you debate Benny Morris? And he's like, fuck yes, I would. I'd love to. I read that dude's books all the time, and I could fucking take him to the woodshed. Yeah, I'll debate Benny Morris. He's like, great. I'll book you and Benny Morris. And Destiny is going to also come along too, and he's going to join in. And then Norm's like, well, okay, if there's going to be 2-on-1, I get to bring someone. I'm going to bring Moyen Robani. And then Lex agreed to that. And then Lex spends the entire debate trying to cut off and choke and block Norm and Moeen from presenting the anti-Zionist perspective. And trying to help and prop up and support the pro-Zionist side. So he's definitely doing it, but he doesn't seem to... He's just a real idiot, you know? And I think, well, first is that, a big serious organization wouldn't tolerate someone so moronic being one of their agents. But then again, it is Israel. So maybe they would. But then again, he doesn't have to literally physically work for them as an agent to be, just like with the CIA, they do covert operations and stuff, and they also just have useful idiots. And they can do things like just find people who are already saying what they want out there and just signal boosting them. Just investing into them, getting their word out more, right? That's usually what they're doing. They're not usually taking someone who's already popular and saying, like, this is what you should start saying now, even though you don't believe it. Like, that's just a risky thing, I think, if you're trying to do some kind of clandestine information warfare. Like, let's go bribe the most popular media person and get them to say stuff that they don't believe. It's like, well, that might work, but it also might blow up in your face. They're like, they tried to fucking bribe me to say they're bullshit. Now I'm going to expose them even more. It's like, okay, now we have way more to worry about. It'd be easier to just be like, okay, here's some little creators who are already saying the shit we want out there, and let's just boost them. Let's shadow ban those other guys. Let's boost these guys. Make them more popular. That's how they do it.
Nation on why one of the most boring podcasters ever gets to interview some of the most high-profile people on the entire planet. Also recently, since the Trump and Elon falling out, Lex has said they need to do a podcast and solve their issues.
I wish I could read whatever that you had on the screen there, but your fucking overlays are over it.
So, yeah, think about who really gets hurt in the divorce.
Love is the answer. As some guy on some podcast once said.
Dude, so fucking cringe. I know exactly. He kind of mentioned it is like he's trying so hard to make it look like he's not trying hard. And then he doesn't see how badly he's fucking failing. Obviously he's not failing. He has to believe he's like got the sauce. He's like, when I get all quiet and I kind of do like a wry little smile and I talk about love, like, yeah, dude, that's what I'm fucking cooking. All right, well, it's the end of the stream. Time to take a look if we had any comments. Let's see. Comment says, welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines. All right, thank you for that. Great message. We'll be back next time with the Finkelstein debate, but we just had to do a little side quest. Talk about good old Lexopher Friedman. What a douchebag. I mean, he's worse than I thought. I especially am mad that he has given up on his dream of being the greatest robot builder of all time before he even started. I think all those karate guys should take him to that mat and pummel him until he agrees to quit the podcast, get a fucking shop somewhere, get some tools, start building us a fucking robot. I want to be the best robot builder in the whole world. Sure you do, Lex. Wow. I'm sure you'll get around to that. And the first time you build one, you'll be the greatest. All right, let's go home. Let's go home. Free Palestine. From the river to the sea. Stand up for what's right. Stand up for a free Palestine. And, yeah.